So the Knicks have game one and a 1-0 lead. Pat Riley had these comments after the game.
Had our best basketball from about 68 to 64 when we were down 4, and I just thought for the first game we were very tentative, as a team, and I think for the most part, the things that we had to get done in the fourth quarter got done. Charles Smith, really stepped up big time and made some big shots for us when we were struggling, and it was just a good win for us. So any questions? I'll just project if I can. My voice is going.
Talk about what you did the last 8 minutes of the game when they went so long without field goal defense.
Both teams, played the game, it was a slow-paced game. They're working the clock. We did not want to, get into a situation. And one of the things that we found out from, the 5 games that we played against them, we were giving up about 10 possessions a half. Not getting anything very good, and so we were committed tonight to try to execute as much as we could and get the ball to the players that we can get them to. And I think the last 7-8 minutes of the game, from a defensive standpoint, we limited them to one shot, and that's when Charles and Patrick, made some very timely baskets for us, and that's what we needed. We needed that at that particular time of the game. So it wasn't any miracle. It was just players stepping up in situations and making jumpers and making tough drives and tough post-up plays.
As Charles got rolling, did you begin to call stuff for him, or did he get a lot of it on his own?
No. We were calling 2 or 3 sets going down the stretch to try to get the ball to he and Patrick, and both of them made some very strong moves, and Charles made a couple of jumpers, and he made drive to the basket, and we're both very similar in what we do. We don't do. There's not a lot of stuff that we're going to do in our offense that's going to try to trick anybody. We're going to take it to our strongest players, we feel, and go from there.
Coach, were you pleased with the way they defended against Kenny Anderson?
Kenny was contained, I think, for the most part. We spent a lot of time in Charleston, working on their pick and rolls, period. We didn't talk too much about post-ups or catch and shoot plays. We really worked hard in making sure our rotations were solid, and we did one little thing differently from a defensive standpoint on him, and I think they'll read it, they'll study it, and they'll try to make some adjustments themselves, but he was looking to move the ball. I'm sure they had an attack against what we wanted to do defensively on pick and rolls, and he was not very aggressive from the standpoint of trying to take it like he had during the regular season. He was moving the basketball out of the traps.
Was that one thing, loading up to one side so they would have to reverse it a little wider?
Well, no. We know what they want to do, and it's not the first pass that we had a hard time handling. It was the second pass, and we're much more committed to rotating quicker and stronger and closing out on guys who are driving the ball to the basket.
Pat, is that the Charles Smith you've been hoping to see?
Well, Charles can play the game of basketball. He had a good week. His knee was sore in Charleston. He did not practice at all yesterday and rested. Today we did not shoot around at all. So, he had a lot of energy, and he just played very well for us. Made some big plays. Yes.
You're almost happy for a guy like that, given the...
It's only one game. Yeah, I'm happy for him tonight, okay? I don't want him to live on this game for the rest of the playoffs, okay? And I think he's, he knows he can accomplish those things. And when he's playing freely and sort of unencumbered, by, the weight of the world on his shoulders, that he can perform. And yes, for tonight, I was very happy for him.
Can one game release that weight?
Coach Pat Riley's press conference brought to you by the New York Times. So put this one behind them and get on to Sunday for Charles Smith. 7 of 10, 27 minutes and 17 points. One of the key players for the Knicks tonight. Now let's find out what Chuck Daly had to say.
Well, I think this game will serve as somewhat of an education. Probably in this building, they're the toughest defensive team left playing in the NBA of all the teams in the NBA playoffs, and the biggest problem is working to get open shots. It's very hard to get a good shot. We had some breakdowns defensively, and yet we hung in there. When Derek went out, we regained the lead, but then when he came back in, we couldn't hold on to it for whatever reason. But their post-up play was very strong. Their defense was very strong, and they executed when they had to execute. And the only other problem for us was free throw shooting, and it's periodically been a little bit of a problem during the course of the year. They were 17 for 24. We were 23 for 32. I don't think in a game like this you can miss that many 9 free throws and stay in the game on the other guy's home court. It becomes a serious factor. But they deserved to win. They played very hard. They played excellent. And we were right there. It was a very entertaining game up until the last 5 minutes, and then it kind of got away from us. But entertaining game. I thought our guys played hard. They played extremely hard, and we'll see what happens on Sunday.
Chuck, what do you take away? 68-64, you had a lead, 7 or 8 minutes to go. You had a chance to really steal one. Is that a real negative when you think back on it or not?
Well, we were in position. We missed a wide open shot in the corner, I believe, and then we had a turnover and gave up an easy basket on the other end. Those are the kinds of things you have to take advantage of. When you get a lead and the other guy's building that late in the game, you really got to execute and get what you want. But Derek had come back from the sutures on his lip and wasn't, I don't think, really into the game at that point, but we had him in the game. But Ewing scored on the baseline, and we missed a couple wide open shots. At that time, the difference there was they made those wide open shots. We didn't. Will it mean anything down the road? I don't know. We got to go over and take a look at the film, and then we'll go from there.
Chuck, Kenny didn't seem to have a Kenny Anderson type game.
That's because of their defense. They played extremely well. I thought their individual defense, their help on him, every facet of their defense was pointed at keeping him under control, and they did just that. In those cases, he's got to distribute. During the course of the year, over 90 games, he'd get off, and a lot of those he'd get an open shot. Now he's not getting the shot. We're breaking a guy open, and he's got to see the guy open a little bit quicker. It's a subtlety, but to come to it at this point is very difficult. But that's the ability of their defense.
Chuck, in your preparations this week, did you think that Smith would be such a factor?
I suspected he could be. Wide open shots. He made a couple big shots. He posted up. When we go small with Morris, it's a problem because of the matchup, and they took advantage of it. He's a very good post-up player, and he had a very big game.
Was this game as physical or more physical than you expected it to be?
About what I expected to be, and I thought the officials did a great job of controlling the game. It was a very physical game, which we expected.
So how do you explain the first half? Defense or two teams that were a little tight?
5 technical fouls called in this game. As Chuck Daly mentioned, it was about what he expected and about what you would expect in an NBA playoff game, especially in the opener. The Knicks winning at 91-80.